Hey y'all, how y'all doing? Alright, there's some things I wanted to go over. This is like, like a study in like the nature of the predator, the type of people that are predators, okay? And, maybe manipulative, anything like that, right? And like how one should deal with it, such as, okay, we have the Bible verse, to be wise as serpents, but gentle as doves, to not harm, all right, but to be very wise. In order to, have introspection, have that solitude, and pull away, right? And retreat, have the meditation. And that's also, he's holding a light, with illumination, to illuminate something. But also to, use intuition, right? To keep something, not necessarily illusion, but this also can mean, obscured, all right? That's one of the words. That something's hidden. Like you may want to keep something hidden, being wise as serpents and gentle as doves, like plans or whatever, like the cards that have come up. In order that you can have, good luck and reach like legacy, like family legacy or family inheritance type things. The Seven of Swords, now it talks about deceit, but it also is strategy. I don't know if you can see that or not. So, be strategic and wise, because, this is what, the devil wants to do, right? Or someone with a, lower entity. Okay, so we have the devil card here, putting people in bondage, in chains, okay, so that they are in limitation, restriction, with a blindfold on. You see the blindfold where they can't see. All right, which is why, cards and being psychic or prophet, or what I mean, there's different talents, but there's also different words that can mean the same thing, and people aren't, aware of it. Discernment. Having discernment to be able to see, light and dark, and what's, manipulative, right? But yeah, you want to be wise as serpents, because there are those out there that are like serpents, like serpents are described, manipulative, slithering, predatorial, is the gist, right? So that's something to keep in mind. It's like, good people may be honest and too forthcoming, because these beings, that are predatory, like they, they hunt by looking for your information. I'm looking at my notes. Your plans or someone else's plans, or what do you know? So you've got to learn to zip it, and it may be that they're doing spells and whatnot to cause people to say too much. So when they say don't give too much of yourself away, don't say too much, is another way of putting it. But that's what the like the frequencies help with, the music frequencies that you play in the background. And like, I'm serious, always play it when you're somewhere where it's darker. Okay, it helps if you can do, what they call smudging, or, smoke cleanse, which is where you have like sage or Palo Santo. But if you're somewhere that you can't have that, they have sprays. You want to look at, like, if you happen to be on Amazon, you want to look at the reviews. You want to look at something that's highly rated, to make sure that it's not someone mixing up junk and selling it. But you can spray it around, but the frequencies help. You know, that's what I had used. It really does help. But yeah, they're doing anything that they can do to talk to people to get information. So you want to be very closed with, you know, things that you would normally maybe say to even people you think you don't have to worry about. You know, it's not for them. You know, it should be for a certain select few only, right? So the dove, you know, that's to keep you safe and at peace. And to keep at peace, you need to be wise and be extremely selective at who you know, say certain things to, or, you know what I mean? Because they will do anything they can to send someone in to get information, and then they'll, you know, that's how they stop you from doing something. Like if you have a dream and they're out to stop you from having that dream, you know? But like, these are good lessons for people right now and for the next generations, you know, and principles for those seeking independence from those that are, you know, manipulative and like tyrants and very domineering, you know. So, I mean, that's important. I think a lot of people need to know that, because you may be honest and open and giving and caring, but you may be dealing with people that just because you're familiar with them, you feel like they are too. Just because people are family, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're there for you. You know, there should be those that you recognize truly are there for you. Don't just pay attention to their words. You need to be looking at their actions. You know, what are they doing versus what they're saying? You know, what is really true? What's really going on? You know, you need to know so that you're not, you know, you've got to use the discernment so that you're not tricked. Okay? And people that are, you got to know the difference between gossip versus someone that's out to reveal the truth, so that it's known, so that it can't be used to harm someone. Because like people, certain families, okay, say they've got curses on the family, this, that, the other, and they're, you know, they got their own karma, and they're out to put it on other people to get people to consent to it without even realizing that's what they're doing. You know. But it's important to break away from that kind of, you know, people that are that way. If you ever get a chance, this is like homework. Watch the movie They Live. Okay, that really is like a documentary, because you get to a point where you can see, you can just see them, you know, and that's why they show them like as aliens. You don't have to wear sunglasses or contacts to see them. It's a matter of your pineal gland being healed. That's why you want, you know, water that doesn't have, and toothpaste that doesn't have fluoride. You know, fluoride free. Yeah, you want to be very careful of that. And when you get drinks, well, where did the water come from in the drink? Is it fluoride or fluoridated water? So you have to, you know, be aware of these things and look for healthier ways of doing things and eating, so that, because they use these things to, you know, harm people and keep them docile and make it easy to control people. That's, you know, people that want to control people, it's usually because their lives are out of control. And for some reason they want to control other people, which is weird. But, you know, it's because they feel limited in dealing with lack, meaning these are people that have lost their creativity, which means the whole right side of the brain is not there. And the heart, you know, the heart is waxed over cold because they need healing to the heart. And the only way they're going to get that, you're not going to do anything to change them. The only way that they're going to get that is being left alone. That's when they're, going to finally start to see what they need to see. But they're energy vampire, So you may not realize that they're pulling on your energy, that you're around people that are pulling on your energy until you get away. And when you get away and you're able to see that, you know what I'm saying? And it's also true that, homeless is also being without a home. Even if you are, in a hotel, that's still considered homeless. It's 'cause you don't own a home, So that's something to consider as well. But, plenty of points to consider and things to think about. But you definitely want to be aware and not have the wool pulled over your eyes just because someone's familiar, because you've known them your whole life or most of your life, or you see them every once in a while and told that they're family. Blood is not, blood's supposedly thicker than water, but there's other things that are thicker than blood. So, you know what I'm saying? It's who is truly true blue, cares about you and loves you, versus who's out to manipulate to make it look this way, that way, the other way, in order to achieve the results that they want. You have to look at, what is it that they're after? What is, the most important thing? Again, pay attention to the actions instead of the words, what's actually going on. Maybe do something so you can find out or something like that. I don't know. But, whatever the case is in your case, be more inquisitive and looking into things, but with, strategic moves, right? But that's what you always want to do so that they're not aware and don't, do something to harm you or something like that to stop you, So you always want to think smart. And there's always ways, finding out better ways, just, finding out things, but do it strategically, with people that comprehend, what's going on. But, just make sure that all parties are on board with the strategic moves. All right, y'all. But this is to help people that are dealing with people that are predatorial, okay? So they can break away, and have that breakthrough and have their freedom and be able to have their breakthrough as well, okay? All right, y'all. Take care. God bless.